Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Ayakala. And I saw this news clip the other day. I believe this happened a couple of days ago. And I just wanted to bring out this short clip and a couple, maybe 3 verses that I wanted to bring out also, because this is showing the beginnings of the third woe, all right? And also, as it describes in this clip, under Donald Trump, this is supposedly the first 2 members of the military who have been unalived since he's been in office. But we know that's not true also, because a lot of times it doesn't even make the news, all right? They have non-disclosure agreements that the families sign, just so that they'll be able to have their family members properly buried, and so that they receive the compensation that they're supposed to receive. But I'll let the clip play, and like I said, I just have a few verses that I wanted to bring out. And again, this is under fair use. This is just for edification purposes only. This is not a monetized channel. All right. And like I said, it's only a couple minutes long, so I may stop it and just bring out a verse. But here it is.
From a deadly attack on U.S. soldiers in Syria, U.S. military aircraft can be seen flying over Syria after President Trump vowed retaliation for what the Pentagon says was an ISIS attack. 2 U.S. service members and 1 American civilian interpreter were killed. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has more. Selena, what's the latest here?
Well, Andrew, these mark the first deaths of Americans in combat since President Trump started his second term. They also mark the first American military fatalities since the fall of Syria's dictator Bashar al-Assad, the first in that country in Syria of these American military fatalities. And the president...
All right, since they installed a new president, all right, and no doubt this is someone who has been approved and has been groomed by America, and someone that they've put in place, because America has military installations in various places around the world, and we'll take a look to see how many installations they have currently. But these kind of things happen when America has gone abroad and has made other countries set up a government that's been approved by them. So in essence, it's like an extension of America. All right. So these countries agreed to certain terms, and they have a certain person that has been installed and been put in place by America. All right. I'm gonna let this play.
Yesterday, he pledged to retaliate against ISIS. Take a listen to what he told me.
Mr. President, will the U.S. retaliate against ISIS?
Yeah. The new president of Syria is, as they told me, and I'm not surprised, devastated by what happened. This is an ISIS attack on us and Syria.
So what we know is that these 3 Americans who were killed, 2 U.S. soldiers and 1 U.S. civilian interpreter, they were ambushed while they were supporting counterterrorism operations against terror groups in Syria. Now, even though...
See, and that's always what they use, all right? And you see that these military members were ambushed because America has a base there in Syria, and they were there to support, and I don't want to say the word, but the T terrorist. They want to bring down, and they always make sure that they point out that they're there in an effort to support. All right, they always, and that's what follows them whenever they go into a different country and put their military installations up. That's what surrounded, that surrounds them. Death surrounds them. All right. Let me just bring out my first verse that I wanted to bring out here, and this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, "Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine," meaning his different philosophies, different policies that America wants to instill and install in these other countries when they put in their puppet presidents. Says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. That's what they do. They put these military installations and spread them out abroad, because America's not happy just being on their own, in their own land, about having their military in their own country. They want to have a presence all around the world, because this is their effort to spread their democracy. And whenever they talk about spreading their democracy, what follows? They do it by bringing about death. Because if you don't adhere to the policy that they want to, their philosophy of spreading democracy, somebody has to be declared to be a terrorist. All right. It says, "He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell." And when it mentions hell here, it's not talking about a place, because there is no place that's where people or souls are tormented. All right, it's talking about the death that he spread and what comes behind him. He enlarges the graveyard. He adds more bodies into the graveyard, because that's what it follows behind America and America's with their policies that they want to spread. It says, "Who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied." They're never satisfied. They can't be just at home. They have to be abroad. They have to spread their policies abroad. It says, "But gathereth unto him all the nations," as they've done at home, as they've done in America. They've allowed all the other nations to come into this country, into America, and heapeth unto him all people. So just as they have created their so-called melting pot here in America, they brought in all the nations into this country, and now, and not just now, they've always been doing it. They've spread their military installations abroad into other countries. This is in an effort to spread their philosophy, to spread their policies, because this is an effort to have control over all the world. And I'm going to let this continue to play.
The U.S. has downsized its military presence in that country. About 1,000 U.S. troops still remain in the eastern part of the country to prevent ISIS from resurging. The group was declared defeated in 2019, but
see, so they've downsized in Syria, but they still have over 1,000 troops there, and they're fighting someone that they have created. I'm not going to mention the name. They have created in prior regimes. And now they're fighting against them and declaring them to be terrorists. All right. And supposedly in 2019, they declared them to be defeated. But as they always use, when you see something like this happen, when they get ambushed, they say there's still cells that exist. All right. So if there's cells that still exist, they haven't been defeated. They still exist. All right, and they pop up whenever America needs to have a certain amount of activity in a different country, so it gives them a reason to go and use whatever they need to use in order to use weapons of destruction. All right, but I'll let this continue to play.
These sleeper cells, they do still carry out deadly attacks across the country. Now, you heard the president there mentioning that the new president of Syria is devastated. Well, it was just a month ago that President Trump actually met with that new president at the White House, marking the first visit by a Syrian head of state ever. We've seen a warming of...
All right, so this is someone that they have installed. All right, he may have been installed under another president of the United States, but yet still, all right, it's because these, whether they be Democratic or Republican, these is two wings of the same bird. And just because one regime has gone and another regime has come into control in the White House, it doesn't mean that they're not continuing on the same policy that's been set before. All right, this is all the same. They're all in the same game, same team. I wanted to take a look to see just how many military installations America has. And I'm gonna Google this just to see, get an idea. Of course, this probably is not accurate. They probably don't let us know exactly what the number is. Let's see what I can find here. How many military installations does America have abroad? All right, now ask Google how many military installations does America have around the world, and it says the U.S. has around 750 military bases in over 80 countries, though the exact number fluctuates and isn't always fully disclosed by the Pentagon. So see, it's up to them to tell you or disclose how many military installations there are around the world. And as you can see here, just from those first couple sentences that I read, the Pentagon doesn't fully disclose that. All right, even though it's the citizens that come from America that make up these armed forces, and our taxes go into these different armed forces, all right, and go into our government in order to pay these military members. We don't even have the right to know exactly how many military installations there are around the world. So it's all secretive. It's up to them to know how many there are, and up to you to find out. It says, with major presence in Japan, Germany, and South Korea. So these installations range from large little Americas to smaller lily pad sites, covering most continents except Antarctica, and represent a larger foreign base network than any other nation. Let's see. All right, that's really all it has here. So this is in an effort for them to, like I said, to spread their philosophies. They put these different military installations in different countries, and these countries take payments. You know, they reap some of the benefits of having these American installations in their country, because I'm sure to a certain amount it generates monies for these countries. All right, but I just have another verse I wanted to bring out. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, and in verse 7 it says, Babylon, which is Babylon is America, hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken, meaning that the other countries around the world have partake in America's policies and America's philosophies. All right, things such as same-sex marriages. All right. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, meaning her, like I said, meaning her philosophies, her policies. So therefore, the nations are mad, and as a result of these these philosophies, these policies being forced upon these other nations are but like I said, a lot of times they're accepting money, they're accepting payments, and they're not necessarily what the citizens of these particular countries want. All right, it's just a puppet government that's been put in place, and just as they have done here in America, they force these policies, they force these philosophies on their citizens, and the citizens aren't necessarily satisfied or not happy with these things. They're having it forced upon them, just as it is here in America. And it's a handful of people that happen to be in charge who are in agreement with these policies, who are in agreement with these philosophies. All right, and I'll let the end of this page. I don't think there's very much left here.
Relations since the fall of the former dictator, but this is a reminder that the country remains very dangerous and that there are still pockets of violence that are very difficult to combat.
Selena Wang, thank you.
All right, and this is their reason for being able to maintain their installations in these different countries, because as they'll go in and initially attack the terrorists, as they say that's the whole reason why they're there, they're always going to say that there's pockets that remain to give them a reason to not have to leave, you know, because they have more than just one reason for being there. They may have a certain country may have some precious minerals, such as oil or other things that they need, and they want to stay there, and it's in an effort for them to be able to take over these precious minerals. All right, and I just have one other verse that I want to bring out, and that'll be the end. And this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 2. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And that's these leaders of these other countries. They have committed the fornication because America is that whore that has gone and spread her wicked philosophies abroad, and these other countries, these leaders have gotten in bed with America and spread these wicked philosophies and spread these things to their citizens. All right, their citizens not even necessarily with these policies, but they have them forced upon them, just as you have them forced upon you here in America. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk. Thus, they have been Americanized. They have had these policies crammed down their throat. All right, and they have partaken in these philosophies. They have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's the philosophies. That's the policies that America has crammed down these other countries' throat, and they begin to partake in these philosophies and into these wicked ways. And this is what America's whole mission is to spread this wickedness and make it global. All right, in an effort to begin to have one global system, a new world order. All right, but that's going to be the end of this lesson, and I pray that it's been edifying to the listener. All right, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.